Her hands trembled as she tightened the last bolt beneath the dusty van, grease smearing across her weathered knuckles. A man in a sharp suit hovered over her, his voice sharp, cutting through the dry afternoon air. "You can't park here. This isn't a garage. People like you. Fix your junk elsewhere." People like her. The words sliced through her like they were meant to. Emma didn't argue. She wiped her hands on her jeans, the fabric stiff with old stains, and kept her gaze low. Around her, bystanders pretended not to hear. Some glanced briefly before turning away, as if her struggle wasn't worth their attention. The man scoffed and walked off, his polished shoes clicking against the pavement, his disdain trailing behind him like perfume. Emma stood slowly, her back aching from hours beneath the stubborn old van. Her hair clung to her face, matted with sweat and engine dust. On her left forearm, half hidden beneath the rolled sleeve of her flannel shirt, the tip of a tattoo peeked out. A black line, simple, quiet. She didn't bother pulling the sleeve down. It didn't matter anymore. Emma had once stood on battlefields, where silence was survival and respect was carved into stone by sacrifice. But here, on this civilian street, she was just another grease-stained woman in a broken van. No one asked why her hands shook. No one asked why she sometimes stared too long at flagpoles. It had been 12 years since she'd left the uniform behind. 12 years since the convoy, the ambush, and the day she stopped counting the names of the fallen because there wasn't enough space in her notebook. They had called her Steady Echo in her unit. She never panicked. She never broke. She patched bullet wounds under fire, drove armored trucks through mine-laced roads, and pulled her sergeant from burning wreckage while the world collapsed around her. But medals tarnish. Uniforms fade. Out here, no one saluted. Out here, she was invisible. The van groaned as she packed her tools. She felt the stares, the silent judgments. A group of teenagers nearby snickered, pointing at her stained clothes and the rusted vehicle that looked like it belonged in a scrapyard. Emma didn't look up until the crowd shifted. Boots approached, not hurried, but with the steady rhythm of someone who knew command could be silent. A tall man in a dress uniform stopped just a few feet from her. His chest bore stars, ribbons lined his jacket. His face, though weathered, held a kind of quiet fire. His eyes landed not on her, but on the tattoo now fully visible as Emma lifted a wrench from the ground. His gaze softened, his throat tightening as if he recognized something most had forgotten. There, inked on her forearm, was the unit insignia of Echo Company, the mark of those who had survived a mission no one else did. The general slowly, deliberately, raised his hand to his brow. His salute was crisp, reverent, and absolute. Silence rippled across the parking lot. The teenagers stopped laughing. The bystanders straightened. The man in the suit, now returning with a security guard, froze mid-step, his mouth slightly parted. As if the air had been stolen from his lungs, the general's voice, when it finally emerged, was low but firm. "Steady, Echo. I never thought I'd see one of you again." Emma simply nodded, her eyes glistening but her lips steady. Still standing. "Sir, because you did." His hand dropped, his gaze holding hers. "Carry on." Without another word, the general turned and left, his salute hanging in the air like the final note of a long-forgotten anthem. No arguments were needed, no explanations were offered. The man in the suit quietly disappeared, his authority crumbling. Beneath the weight of a silent honor he couldn't touch, in that quiet lot, a woman with grease-stained hands stood taller than any uniform. Sometimes, the loudest stories are told in silence. Sometimes, respect isn't demanded. It's quietly given to those who've already earned it. If this story moved you, let us know where you're watching from and what silent heroes you know. Subscribe for more stories that honor the unseen battles and the people who still carry them.